So I wasn't going to initially do a review for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but I watched it this weekend and it hasn't left my mind. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm probably going to have some spoilers in this review, but I'll definitely leave a time code for where my final thoughts are, so you can just jump to that without any spoilers. But as of now, I will probably talk about some things that will spoil some stuff, so that is just a fair warning to you guys. So Volume 3 has been stuck in my mind all weekend because I have to say that I was not expecting it to be as heart-wrenching and emotional as it was. I thought that it was going to be a lot more light and friendly and fun, but I probably should have expected it to be a little bit darker because this is kind of the end of this gang of Guardians, at least. That being said, even though this is the most emotional, heart-wrenching Marvel movie I think that I've seen in a while, it is also so fun. Like, I had a blast watching it. I felt like I was kind of a part of the Guardians myself, especially at the end, and you'll see why. I won't spoil that for you. But there's just something about it that makes you feel like you're with him. You've been with these characters for so long, it makes it very personal. And I really, really liked that. I feel like that was kind of the theme of the overall story. So past Guardians focused on obviously saving the galaxies and the world. I felt like this one felt very personal because it wasn't just saving the world, it was saving each other. And I feel like that was a big moment for this film. Very much about family, very much about these characters and their relationships and what they developed. Their loss of Gamora and introducing a new Gamora. Gamora's death was incredibly heartbreaking and significant to the other films. So bringing in a new Gamora was taking a risk, and I loved the fact that she was different. I loved that she was kind of a dick. I loved the fact that they did not push her and Quill together. I think if they had, it would have cheapened her death, and I just wouldn't have liked it as much. Going back to tying it together, it makes his relationship with OG Gamora so much more significant by seeing the differences with the new Gamora and his past experiences with old Gamora. It was really touching to see how much he missed her and how he can't get her back. And that it is solidified that she is gone and she is dead, and they didn't ruin that with this new Gamora. And I really, really appreciate that. So the movie starts off kind of reeling from this loss of Gamora. Quill's kind of like a drunk. Rocket is kind of trying to fill that void of what Quill used to be, and events happen and Rocket is in trouble and the team needs to do something to save Rocket. I really loved watching Rocket's origin story, and what I absolutely loved was this villain. Now, I know that some people are all about villains and all about villains' backstories and all about seeing villains as black and white, and they're not just evil and they're not just that. But I feel like for the past few Marvel movies, that's all we get. And this villain was just straight up evil. Like cartoon character evil. Like just so fucking dark that there's just no way that you can see any good in this character. We haven't had a villain that was just a straight up bad guy in a really long time, and I actually really liked it for this film. I feel like if we had seen a softer side to this man, it wouldn't hit as hard. I think it really helped boost the intensity of this story. I think it really made the conflict much scarier and much more intense than if they would have given him a backstory and made him a little bit nicer or made him have a heart or whatever they do with other villains. I liked that he was just bad. This Marvel film has one of the sickest fight scenes that I've seen in a long time, and when I was watching it, I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing ever. So I was amazed that they could actually pull something off like that in the first place. I'm also curious how they did it because it was just absolutely stunning. It was also really cool that they showed and featured each of them fighting, so it was like their own unique style within this long fighting sequence, which really gave it so much more meaning because this is the last Guardians. The only thing that really bothered me about this film was probably the flashbacks. I loved that they were flashbacks of Rocket and his story, and they were so emotional. I think every single one I cried. However, I didn't like how they went about it. I think the pacing might have been off, and I didn't like the way that they transitioned into the flashbacks because sometimes they seemed like they were Rocket's subconscious, maybe his dreams, his thoughts, But sometimes it would just be random and it would just be a flash. And then all of a sudden we were in the flashback, and it kind of took me out of it. It was a little jarring in comparison to the film. So I feel like there was probably ways that they could have gone about that a little bit better. I was also a little sad because I did go back and watch the first two Guardians, and having Rocket's story told mostly through flashbacks was kind of a bummer, because as a final film, I really wanted to see more interactions with him and all of his team, because some of those moments were like the funniest from the first two versions, and to not have that in the last movie kind of felt like something was missing. And I understand that it's probably hard to fit all of his flashbacks in and then him get together with the Guardians, and it would just be way too long and way too much. But I yearn for that. I miss that. Those were some of my favorite moments from the first two films, and I just wanted more of that. So I guess I'm just greedy. Overall, I loved this movie. I think that it's probably my favorite Guardians film, even passing one. I loved the emotions that it brought. I loved how fun it was. It felt honestly like the last few days of school, when you're cherishing the memories that you had with your friends, but you're also saying goodbye to those friends because it's time for a new story in your life. I really love what they did with Gamora. I appreciated the fact that they did not make her like OG Gamora. They made her her own character, and it felt very satisfying the way that it ended. Honestly, the whole film felt very satisfying. I felt like the ending wrapped up so nicely, so neat. It was so heartwarming. It felt right. It felt right. That's really all I can say, is that I think that they did a very good job at ending this film. I think that the ending was a really good send-off for James Gunn, as well as I think that he's just focusing on DC now, and it's kind of comes full circle since he started Guardians and was really passionate about it. You can see that it's there within this movie. While some of the pacing was a little funky and other things were a little clunky too, overall, I absolutely loved it. I would totally recommend this movie. But those are my thoughts. So let me know what you guys think. I'd love to know. Did you like it? Did you not? Which one's your favorite? I think this one's my favorite. But yeah, that's my review. I will see you guys later. Bye.